Predator: Badlands doesn't just end a story, it repositions the entire Predator franchise. While the film delivers a brutal, emotional conclusion for its central characters, it also leaves just enough unresolved threads to push the series forward in multiple directions. Dan Trachtenberg's follow-up to Prey and Predator: Killer of Killers is both intimate and expansive, focusing on one young Yatjua hunter while subtly widening the scope of the shared Alien-Predator universe. At its core, Badlands is about worth, legacy, and survival, not just through violence, but through connection. By the final moments, the film has quietly transformed its protagonists into something new, not lone predators, but the foundation of a new kind of tribe. Dek, Thaya, and Bud, the birth of a new tribe. The ending of Predator: Badlands brings together Dek, Thaya, and Bud, three beings from radically different origins, and positions them as a found family. Each of them reaches the finale having lost their original tribe, either through death, rejection, or deliberate separation. Dek earns his cloak and proves his strength, but in doing so, he destroys his relationship with his father and the version of Yatjua culture that raised him. Thaya survives her sister's betrayal, realizing that Tessa has fully embraced a philosophy that sees compassion as weakness. Bud, revealed to be a juvenile Kalisk, loses its mother and witnesses her death firsthand. By Predator standards, this ending is radical. The Yatjua culture has always emphasized solitude, dominance, and emotional suppression. Hunters prove their worth alone. Bonds are liabilities. Pity is weakness. Dek rejects that final lesson. Instead of becoming a solitary predator, he becomes an alpha, not one who rules through fear, but one who protects. This is where Thaya's earlier explanation of wolf packs becomes crucial. An alpha doesn't just kill. An alpha safeguards the group. The final image of the three standing together isn't just hopeful, it's defiant. They are forming a tribe that fundamentally contradicts traditional Yatjua values, which instantly makes their future unstable, dangerous, and full of narrative potential. Maternal threats still lurking. While Badlands resolves its central conflict, it intentionally leaves behind looming antagonists. Dek may have overcome his father, but the film's final moments strongly suggest that his mother could become the next major obstacle. The ship approaching at the end could belong to her, signaling either judgment, recruitment, or punishment. If she embodies a purer, harsher version of Yatjua ideology, Dek's rejection of tradition may place him directly in her crosshairs. Meanwhile, Thea's danger is more insidious. Muthur, the Weyland-Yutani AI, remains active, representing corporate exploitation, control, and the cold logic that has haunted the Alien franchise for decades. Where Dek's threats are personal and cultural, Thaya's are systemic and technological. This balance gives the franchise two complementary antagonistic forces: Yatjua tradition and human corporate ambition, expanding Yatjua culture beyond the hunt. One of Badlands' biggest achievements is its expansion of Yatjua lore. For decades, Predator films deliberately kept the species mysterious, focusing instead on human victims. Badlands flips that approach. Here, we see a society that treats grief as weakness, mercy as failure, and emotional attachment as corruption. Dek's father genuinely believes that killing his own son would be a kindness if Dek proved unworthy. But Dek's arc challenges that worldview. He honors tradition, earning his cloak, completing the hunt, surviving impossible odds, yet refuses to accept its emotional cruelty. By becoming a guardian rather than a pure executioner, he reframes what strength actually means. The film's opening Yatjua Codex emphasizes standing alone. The ending quietly contradicts it. Dek chooses community, connections to Killer of Killers and the Alien franchise. The ending of Badlands is also a narrative junction point. The incoming ship could belong to Dek's mother, or it could be the vessel taken by Torres and Kenji in Predator: Killer of Killers. If it's the latter, the two Predator stories could collide, revealing that both groups are being drawn into a larger Yatjua-controlled hunt. This would unify Trachtenberg's Predator films into a connected saga rather than isolated entries. More importantly, Thaya's presence fully confirms what fans have long suspected. Alien and Predator now officially share the same continuity under Disney. With Alien Romulus ending with its protagonist drifting deeper into space, and Alien Earth expanding the franchise's timeline, Badlands provides the perfect geographic and thematic bridge. Jenna's hostile ecosystem, filled with dangerous fauna, mirrors the kind of biological horror central to Alien storytelling. The groundwork is there for another Alien vs. Predator crossover, but one driven by character, not spectacle. The true meaning of Predator: Badlands. Despite its scale and violence, Predator: Badlands is surprisingly intimate. Beneath the alien creatures and explosive action is a story about family trauma and survival. Dek is haunted by Quay's death, driven by the need to prove that his brother's sacrifice meant something. Thaya initially mirrors that desperation, nearly dying to save Tessa, only to realize that Tessa has embraced the same brutal logic that killed Quay. Bud's story quietly parallels both. As a juvenile Kalisk, it loses its mother and is forced into premature independence, just like Dek and Thaya. By the end, all three are orphans in different ways. But instead of becoming harder and colder, they become stronger together. That's the film's emotional thesis. Strength doesn't come from isolation. It comes from chosen family. Why the ending works. Predator Badlands doesn't close doors. It opens them carefully. Dek, Thaya, and Bud aren't riding into a victory. They're stepping into uncertainty. They're hunted by tradition, threatened by corporations, and isolated in a universe that rewards cruelty. And yet, they stand together. That choice reframes the Predator mythos. The hunt isn't the point anymore. Survival, emotional, moral, and communal is. In doing so, Badlands doesn't just set up sequels. It gives the Predator franchise something it's rarely had before: a heart.